Now my mic should be working. Yes. Oh boy, that happens when you're not ready yet. When you don't have enough coffee, right? Let me just double check. Now my mic should be working. Yes. Okay, so what I want to see right now is it hit this this event horizon. That's what I just want to see for this moment. That's it. And then we reassess because we want to see how if it's going to go into the range. It could go down into the range, but I think it might just have a little pop up to that level because it's already above the end walk, and we're still in a macro. So let's see, 206. I do expect a rejection from this point here because it's a very significant. All these event horizons, they've played a big role this week. They're always very. You could always expect a retracement there. Yeah, there we go. Oh, nice, 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 nice. Come on, go, 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 go. Come on, you can do a little bit more points. You can do it. You can do it. 208. 72. Okay, I wanted to hit the event horizon, so that's the midpoint of this wick, and which will then hopefully be a rejection block, and then we reassessed. We reassessed the trade. So it's just a quick scalp. I just logged in and I saw the trade. Rejection block on the 4-hour, which is also almost at the mid of it's almost at the event horizon. I use the event horizon a lot. That's the mid of between two end walks, and you can consider that a good liquidity point. So yeah, I'm just waiting for it. Now I don't like it because we're already almost at the end of the macro, and I do want it to hit that point before the end of the macro. Because what happens sometimes, it just doesn't hit it straight away, and then it still goes down. But let's see. I might put my stop loss a little bit. Oh, it hit it. Good. Okay. So that was, it hit the event horizon. So now I'm going to reassess because I am very bullish for today, but we should get a retracement at some point, right? We still have a lot of fair value gaps, 4-hour, but also on the 15. Here, look at this nice little gap here, the end dog that has been formed. This was my TGIF that I thought would come last week, but we didn't get it. We got a retracement on Thursday already. But I'm very bullish on today that we are going to get it's the same weekly profile. Tuesday low. Last week we had a Thursday high. We went back into the range, but I think today we'll have a Friday high, and then we get this 20, 30, 40% back into the range. We've got all this liquidity on this side, so The question is, where are we going to get the retracement for today? And yeah, I just wanted to get on to see in London if we could get just a nice trade. And then obviously the rest of the move will come today. But we just have to figure out, like, when is it going to take out a daily high? Like, for example, it could take this a daily high, go a little bit higher and go back into the range. That's a possibility. But what I would prefer to see is that it goes, I'll mark this area here. This is a large weekly wick, the mid of the weekly wick. This is the midpoint. That's a very important point for me when it gets to that point. Like, what is it going to do? Are we going to retrace, go back over it, and then get the TGIF? Or are we going to retrace and get the TGIF when it takes out the Thursday high? So, yeah, that's why I'm just already looking at it and want to get a feeling for the rest of the day, what's coming. So that's why I thought, hey, let me come on. And exactly, normally at 2 a.m. we get a good move, but now I think because there's more in store for later today, we might just get a retracement and we have to be just a little bit vigilant. So now I do expect a retracement from this level here, and as you can see, it's already going to the downside a little bit. Now we just have to sit on our hands a little bit and see how it rejects and how far it goes back into the range. Yeah, I'm very excited for today, to be honest. But yeah, again, I'm going to touch some grass in the meantime. So I just don't hope we get everything in the pre-markets, but I don't think so. I think we'll get a good trade AM or PM session as well. So just warming up. This London session is a good warming up. So I had a little scalp already. I got on and I saw this. It was just a 10-point trade. I saw, I was starting to look in the chart. Okay, we're going up, and then just going to trade it to this, and then reassess again for maybe if there's a better trade to take for a bit higher. And if not, it will give us enough information to prepare for the AM session, pre-market or PM session. I'm doing PM session anyway, because especially on this Friday. That will be awesome when it just takes its time. And, when we have a good move, let's say we get a good retracement during London or pre-market, you're going to get a lot of chop in AM session, right? We do have news, by the way, at 8:30. It can be tricky. It's Friday. So, yeah, I really hope we're going to get a good TGIF today. So the weekly profile is perfect for it. Tuesday low, right over here. Even though we had a short week, right? We can still see this weekly profile. Monday, Tuesday, and let's see now, we're already going over Thursday, so we're going to get a Friday high. But we just have to make sure that we catch the proper move into the range. So it could happen in pre-market sometimes. It could happen in London sometimes as well. Like I say, if it would take out all these levels, you can get this move already in pre-market, for example, and then have chop for the rest of the day. So we have to be vigilant for that. So yeah, let's see. So that's why I really don't want it to already take everything out now, because that sort of like messes up with my thought process a little bit, because I'm like, okay, what's it going to do? Or are we going to go much higher into new all-time highs? So I prefer it to go, to reject at some point and then take out the new Friday high that it created. And then you calculate the weekly range with that new Friday high, and then you want it to go back into the range. So that's it. That's the analysis for today, for now. Yeah. And we are hanging out in this event horizon between two NWOCs. So let's see what it does. We have to sit on our hands right now. I'd love to trade all the time, actually, but it's actually not the right thing to do, right? Especially when you just start trading. But I had my warm-up trade anyway. When you see those last-minute moves, even though it's you can't really frame a proper R&R, right? So it's even you get in, and it's even you're not even able to set your stop loss, but it's already running. It's not really good to advocate that, I guess, as a streamer, but when you see like a wick like this, it's already in an up close candle, Yeah, I just market order in that case, and then I take my 10 points. But it's not the way I usually trade. I really would like to frame my, we're in a macro, everything lined up, except my timing was because it just came on. But yeah, so I didn't even have I don't know if you saw that, but my stop loss was actually not set because I just got on, I just got in. Yeah. But only in a situation like this, when I see everything line up and I really, I've been trading this so much and this event horizon in a wick, on a 4-hour wick, which is almost the midpoint, you can really take that as a TP. So for example, if you would take the trade at an earlier point, obviously this is 4-hour. Let me go to the 15-minute. You can really use those points if you see those two line up as a TP point, right? So that really would help you frame trades. Yeah, let me just. So now we just watch how it's going to react. You see it's already consolidating a little bit, so we can expect that today. On the 15-minute, you see there's a lot of just upward movement. We hardly have any imbalances. There are a couple, so that's good if you see that like really doesn't need to go all the way down here, and you do have some imbalances on the 15-minute. So I'm really curious to see if we make it all the way down here, or are we just going to blast up and is it going to be a continuation grind up from yesterday? I had a good trade yesterday. It's a 3.6 hour trade. It was a 1.5 hour trade. I was so upset at the end. I was really like impatient. Like get there, please. But I sat through it. It was a slow grind up. I was confident in that level for the end of day. It went even higher, but thank God I got out at I think just half an hour before end of day. But it was a long, slow grind, and it really tested my patience. But anyway, yeah. So let's see how price is reacting now. This is midnight right over here, and yeah, you can see we have a lot of just slow grind up, and the first imbalances are above me. We have here, we do have one here, but it retested this already. Yeah, this is the settlement price. I'm actually hoping that it will go down into this range. I would definitely long from here, from this area. It would, if it would make it down to this area. So now let's see if it's going to go over the event horizon. To 18. So not on a trade right now. Just waiting to see how it's reacting in this area. Just gonna have a look at it on the screen quickly. Okay, yes, 803. 803 is a good level. If I would get back in a trade, it still would be a scalp at this point, because I just don't know when the big move will come. There is a weekly high at 804.25. That's a higher, that a weekly high obviously has a higher value than event horizon. So you can see, I do expect it's going to pop out of that event horizon. And then, I already have this marked here. You can see this blue line, I've got that marked. So my next trade that I would frame would be from preferably a rejection, but again, in this situation, if I see it's going to pop up, I would just market order in, I guess. Because once it gets over this event horizon, this will be the next liquidity level. And because it's just 20 points, right? It's about 25 points. So preferably now, I would like to see it make a little retracement and then go to this weekly high. So on days like this, and especially when I do expect a larger move, at some point you'll just have consolidation and it's preparing itself for this larger move. I'll go back to the 4-hour just to show everyone who's popping in later. I'm very bullish. I'm extremely bullish. TGIF, yes, I believe that we will have a TGIF today. Why? We're grinding up. This was actually last week's Thursday. I thought we would have that Thursday or last week Friday, but we already went back into the range on Thursday. So we had a Thursday high here, and now we have taken that out almost. So that means we are going to go over that high. Then we're going to go into this area here. Now the only thing that we need to be careful of, when are we going to retrace? What time is it? 21. I'm getting in. I'm just going to go in and take this TP 803 because it's 221-ish. It might be a little bit too early. Just want to make sure it goes over the event horizon. 223. Might be a little bit too soon. Just gonna do very tight stop loss. 784 is actually the midpoint of, yeah. Okay, you have to be a little bit careful because the midpoint of this 4-hour wick is a little bit higher than the event horizon, so it could just pop back down. So I'm gonna wait. I'm getting out. Just gonna wait a little bit more. You see this? I'm just gonna wait because it's a scalp anyway. So this is the weekly high, but I just want to see how it's going to reject exactly at this midpoint of this 4-hour midpoint, and we are almost there, and then see what happens. And then my next TP will be that weekly high. That's right, that's the top. But I wanted to go over this weekly. I want to make sure that it doesn't reject at this weekly point. So we just had a little retracement from the event horizon. So that is the mid between the two N walks. Now, most of the times when we do go over an N walk, we do blast through it. But there you go. Just want to make sure. So I had one little scalp from here to the event horizon. Then I got out to reassess because my logic was it's at the same level, almost at the mid of the wick, which could be a rejection block. Because obviously I want a rejection to some level here to create the high, and then we get the TGIF later today, right? So at some point I just want to make sure that I don't want to get caught in that move down, which we hopefully will get soon. Yeah. See, we also have a wick here, right? This is also a large wick. So we have to, on days like this, you want to use those larger wicks as this, because they operate as a rejection block. And those are the points where most likely price will reject from. So use them to your advantage. So we're still not at the 7-8. We're still not at the midpoint. It's 881. You can use quarters as well, midpoints, because sometimes it doesn't go all the way to the midpoint. It uses quarters or 1/3. I use that a lot. And when it uses 1/3, it goes down and then it goes back up further sometimes. Yeah. Now we watch. You see how it does not really go, right? It's sort of like hanging out here. Let me know, is anyone in a trade or looking at something specific? Bias, want to share some analysis? Here we go. 784, okay, we are at the midpoint. Okay, now let's see what's going to happen. It's almost 230. We love 230, 233. Okay. You know, these grind-ups are hard to trade, in all honesty, because, you know, where am I going to get in now? What is my, if I know it's going to go to that weekly high, that 804, okay, then, you know, now it's going to pop up. Okay, am I going to just market order in? Is that a good thing how I should be as a YouTuber? Is that a good example? Not really, right? But if we, where would I really had a good entry? Yeah, I should have entered maybe. It's technically the Thursday 10 o'clock, right? Because you had the manipulation here and then you just had everything grind up. And obviously there are more entry points, I guess, but where would I technically get good trade here that I really have a good, I got on about a little bit before 2, was looking at the chart and then I saw the midpoint. Yeah, there was a retest here, 5+2, and then I got out at the event horizon. Okay, now let's see. So this is hard. This is really a little bit more challenging to really frame good. So that's why, and this, when I get on in London, I'm a little bit more vigilant and I take shorter trades because I preferably want to take. I'm going to take the long trade with the TGIF or whatever. Those will be my. If I can manage to frame them properly, it could be 50 to 100 points. Yesterday I had a 3-hour trade. I set to a long period of time. It's on my yesterday's stream. My God. But I made it. It was a good trade, but it was 1.5 hours long, and I just managed to sit through the grind up. But then I had enough information to really frame the end of day, how high it would go. But now, yeah, look, it's going. Yeah, I would. Okay, I'm not going to do it on stream, but if I would not be on stream, in all honesty, I would market order in here, put my stop loss below this here, below this point, and ride it to 804. Not financial advice. Yeah, because we're above the logic is we're above the midpoint of this wick. So it doesn't really seem to reject now, but we still have to be vigilant on a day like this, right? It's Friday, and we've got news coming. So my stop loss will be a little bit tighter. And it's almost 230 as well, 233. So let's see. If it would go over that price again, it was, so now we have this fair value gap, right? We have a little fair value gap here. And this is the weekly, this is an old weekly high that has a higher value than an event horizon, which is this point. So as you can see, it's already going over this event horizon. We already went over the midpoint of this wick, so we can safely assume it's not going to be a rejection block. Then we move on the 4-hour to this rejection block. That is so I measured that one. That's 818. It's a little bit higher than the weekly high, but I would just take it to the weekly high. That's a safe trade, which is obviously the high of this week, right? I'm also a little bit hesitant because I sat through that long trade yesterday. And it really, I mean, I got really, I was literally falling asleep on stream. Um, so that's why I'm a little bit, I would rather have a flush to the downside and then we get the move up and then we trade the TGIF. So, yeah, 231. Okay. That might be a stop out. How's my light? I don't know. Just want to check my. Okay, everything is visible, right? All good. Okay, all good. So it went right into this little order block here. Did not go over. It didn't even go into this little gap. It seems just to grind up. It's still a continuation of yesterday's behavior. So this would not. So this would not have been a stop out because you put your stop right below. I would have actually put it just below this little gap. 233. Yeah, there we go. That was a stop out then. Yes. Or not. 233. If you get if the macro changes direction within the macro, 233 is considered a macro in London time. It is a very significant time where it could turn. So, but it would be a weird. Did we go? Okay. Okay. Now look, this is interesting. The bodies, we have a wick above the. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So what can happen now is that we see there is a wick above the midpoint of that rejection block. So let's see what it does. Let me go to the 15-minute just to get. Okay, we do have a 15-minute close over that midpoint of that wick, right? That's important. So technically we did close, unless I measured it incorrectly. Yeah. You see how it's really very, it's not really a nice price action to look at. I have to get this music back on. I just last time I put it back on, my mic got really horrible, and it was really not pleasant to listen to. So I took it off, and I'm going to work on it this weekend to put some background music back on, because it was really nice, I think, to have that, right? Especially when you sit through waiting time, you don't have to listen to my voice all the time. I guess. Okay, let me check some other things. Just want to make sure that I have everything. Uh, yeah, 805, 804, 804, 805 is definitely on my radar. Question is, when are we going to move? 804. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna take that trade at some point. Just want to make sure I don't get stopped out. Um, Still 20 trade up from here. 37. Did we? Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna very tight stop. Eight. So I'm gonna put the stop below this area here. Logic. We're above the event horizon. We have the weekly high above us. We are already high. We are in an upward trend. We just took out this mitigation block. We mitigated the price here, so. And I will trill my stop with it because it's a very tight stop loss. 238. This is proper liquidity. This is now not, and we're above. Are we above the midpoint of the rejection block? Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit of a tricky area, to be honest, because of that rejection block right on the 4-hour. And we're hovering around, we're going back and forth around that midpoint. So if I get stopped out, I know I'm too early, then we know that the rejection block on the 4-hour is really being used as a rejection block. So I consider that then, yeah, okay. That's I pay that money to get that intel, I guess. Had a winning trade already, it's okay. I actually prefer to see it, but I would rather not have it. I would rather have it take the weekly high here and then reject properly. 240. There we go. Okay, good. Okay, now we know. That's okay. It's okay because actually it gives us a very good information. Here we go. So the wick can go over the midpoint, but the body's not, right? Now on the 15 minute, the body did go over a little bit. So that confused me a little bit. There we go. So now we are getting a rejection from this point here. The thing what makes it hard is that those rejections are very small. They're not really like large moves to the downside, and that's typical for this week. That's why NFP weeks can be a little bit more challenging to trade. You do get reactions where they're supposed to be, or also you can see the reactions are a little bit different, right? We react above the just above the midpoint. The rejections are smaller. So you get, now you're waiting for a longer move to the downside, but it really is actually just a small move again. Like here we have a little wick into this one here, but now it goes a little bit lower into there. Is it going to this wick now? So you just need more patience and just sit it out. The best thing actually is just to wait till you have a large flush to one side and then, take it. But then again, we just like to tape read and look into and prepare ourselves. So because the more intel you have and the more levels you're already seeing being met, for example, will really help you in the AM session. And when the move comes that you're like, okay, now we are really, we had a nice retracement. We're going to make that move up, take out, and actually it's a good thing that we didn't take out this. Thinking about it now, this is a very significant level because it's a weekly high, right? So we don't want this high actually to be taken too early if we have a T, because then technically we can have a TGIF already. So we actually don't want it to happen too early. It's a good thing to think about it. So we just wait. I'm actually looking forward to today's, so it's daytime here. I'm in South Africa. We are at the end of the winter time. So we've got a beautiful, well, even in winter time, the days are nice and warm, but it's just nicer when it's summertime, I guess. So I'm really looking forward to today's. We're gonna go to the beach and have a nice walk. We've got whales now passing by to go from north to the south side. You don't really see them that close, but if you take your binocular, you can see them splashing in the ocean further down. It's always nice to see them. Just the idea that they're there. So yeah. Would this be a good short? Is this time now to frame a short? Because we're rejecting from this rejection block, right? Or this is a rejection block that issue. Let's go to the 15. I want to go a little bit lower. Frame, see if we can frame. But I just don't trust it too much because it's just really not. We're in this zone here, and we do have a little area here, but midnight is too close. I would rather see it then go below midnight. Okay, we've got a next macro coming at 2:50. I just want a little bit more information because I just, normally I would think, okay, are we rejecting here? Is this a short? I'm just not sure if if we're really going down now. So I just want to have a little bit more info. Just don't trust it too much. You see how it's not really moving to the downside, right? It's sort of like hovering around this area into between around the event horizon. It's a little bit below a bit now. But that midpoint of a wick um, is a rejection block. So let's see. Where are we going? Yeah. 48. Now I do, all those levels, Asia low, high. If we get a TGIF, we don't need to go there right now. That's just levels that are going to be saved for later. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant with a very deep retracement now. Um, could we see a level below New York midnight open before the pre-market? Could be, but let's see how the macro starts at 250, what the candle gives us. If it gives us a spike to the upside of the 250, then I'm inclined to be more bearish for this macro. $249. You see, this is exactly for this area. You see this exactly these candles here. Normally, you would see that it would wick, and then you see just the bodies below this, right? And now you have exactly this, but we do know this is exactly the midpoint of that 4-hour wick, so we can make it a logic move. So it should be short, but okay, it's a down close candle. I just want to see how it behaves. This is a 50 with 250 candle here. It leaves a lot of algorithmic signatures. The first candle of the macro. It's a down close candle. Let's see how it closes. Are you going to close bearish or bullish? You see, we're in the middle of this order block. This is a bullish order block. I want to measure it. See, we're exactly at the half of it, right? So I'm not too bearish yet. 250 was a bearish. Okay, so I'm really going to wait. I think a lot of people are going to be bearish now, but they could be tricked. Look at the top here. Go equal. So I'm a little bit hesitant to take a short now. See? Now let's see if this is the fake move or the see in the 5 minute. This is order block as well here. On the 5 minute, do you have any? You have 2 bullish order blocks to go through if you want to go to the downside. I can use this as a rejection block to the upside, but I am not convinced of a move down yet. Just not. Could be wrong. Could be totally, because we got a gap here though. It inverted this. There's not really a breaker. There's nothing, right? I'm actually inclined to. I'm actually bullish again. Yeah, 803. Pick this one. Okay, we're stuck in consolidation now. Let's see. I do not wish to be stuck again, because yesterday I mean I've set to do such a long trade. I will avoid that today at all costs. Maybe in the PM session again. I don't really mind, but now yes, because I do want to enjoy the day a little bit. I just do not want to get stuck in consolidation. Let's see. Yeah, I am really inclined to really think we are first going to that weekly high instead of going lower. I'm just not convinced of a move down. So I just want a little bit more information. And again, I could be wrong, but I just think the weekly high is still in the cards. And it doesn't go easily to those significant highs and lows, right? It takes its time because it knows people know those levels. So I'm just not, I'm just more inclined to, I'm still bullish. I really think that weekly high is a more important level than another level at the moment. So 804. And it's just a consolidation right now. But then again, I could be wrong. And this could be enough for the rejection, right? It's just using it as a temporary rejection and then going to that high. This is a bullish order block. Let's see if it holds. This is exactly the midpoint. But we could go lower into this area. On the 5-minute, we don't have a breaker. So I don't see it as a valid chasing the state of delivery. This move to the downside. So what I want to see now, I want to see how the macro is going to react in. I'm just having a trouble today with the word reject and react. I seem to mix them up every time. So when I say them, just think about the opposite today. I think I need more coffee. Now it could flush down, right? It could do that, but let's see at the midpoint of the macro what it's going to do. And we're gonna wait. Let's see what you want to do, my friend. What do you want to do? Are you going to give us the weekly high, or are you going to go into the range? You could go a little bit lower and then go up. I think a lot of people are inclined to go short right now. If I'm okay, there we go. Okay. Looks like we might get a little bit. 3 o'clock. Tricky area for a trade right now. Okay. Is it going to move to 23,756-ish? It's going to be a short and then go up. Or are you going to make that move to the weekly high already? One past three. Okay. Okay, I think it's gonna make a move, just maybe 10 points to the downside, but it's all minimal. Let's say it's gonna go to 756-ish. I wouldn't be surprised, and it rejects the 756. Yeah. Let's see. 756. What are you gonna do there? If we're going to get a proper TGIF, it has no reason to go very low because it's going to keep those levels for later on. Here, there we go. It's a nice move to the downside. It's now at 756. And it's rejecting there. Okay, let's see if it stays there. I wanted to see, if it rejects here because this is an important level. If it goes lower, I have to really reassess. But if it stays in this area, 726. Okay, 303. Okay, so now we have yeah, I like to see it reject from or not reject but stop here. That will be 756 level, but we have a first presented fair value gap now also printed at the 302 candle for the London. So we're gonna go a little bit lower. See how far are we going to go lower. I'm gonna go to midnight. Yeah. So you have a move down, but then again, it's just So I don't trust this move to the downside. I know if you framed it properly, it's still a good move, but because I'm bullish, I'm just not interested in this move. I don't think we're going to get a very deep retracement though. But then again, we had quite a move up. So the rejection block is a rejection block, right? From that 4 hour. And it's keeping this weekly high for later. And the question is, are we going to get a deep retracement? But I just don't think so. I just don't think it's going to be very deep. So it's very important information. If it doesn't take Asia lows, for example, now, if it leaves that, then if you start to calculate the TGIF level, you want those levels to be in your TGIF zone. So at some point you will be able to frame the further the day goes, the session goes on, right? You can calculate the weekly range. So even though we don't know exactly how high we will go for this weekly range, you can sort of like look at it. Okay, first you can frame it from, let's say you frame it from the weekly high, or then you take last week's high, you look to the left of your chart, and then you see where the 20, 30, 40% of that level is going to be inside. So, but for me, it would be okay. For example, if we would take Asia lows now, that would also, for me, already signify, okay, so what if we do have, you know, how high are we going to go? Because then maybe in the TGIF, it doesn't have to be in that range. So that could be an indication that we might go very high today. You never know, right? Because we do have news. So I missed it. I didn't take the short, but I don't like. I just, like I said yesterday, I was in a very long trade. I don't want to be stuck in consolidation today, especially not on. I want to enjoy the day a little bit and touch some grass. I'm okay to miss this move. Yeah, we have one little gap here. That doesn't really excite me. We're still in a macro, but we're at the end almost. So um, and yeah, I'm just not expecting a large move. And I just, if I take a move, I just really want it to be a good move. It might be a nice move now. Let's see what it does in the last 1.5 minutes. Are we going to break down through midnight? Yeah, we are. Okay. It's a nice move, actually, but too many insecurities and just not sure things. See, it's already spiking up. But yeah, we just are collecting intel. So this is now, we haven't hit you see what's happening now. It's so interesting. We can consider this macro almost done, right? It's 3:09, and it's creating a up movement now. Is it going to go take down Asia lows now? Which will really mean it's going to go deeper into the range here. And then the move up will start later again, right? Because or are we, is it the TGIF? We'll see. Well, let's just wait until 3:30, and then I'm going to leave it at it. I just want to get some more intel. So we did hit the monthly, the midpoint, a monthly half point. So let's see if we rejection there. So we didn't hit the midnight at the moment. We did not hit any midnight. Okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to move up again from here? Let's see. See, we have a nice wick now, right? Even on the 1 minute. Yeah. Is this to move? Is this actually a long now? Is this a long? Mm-hmm. I'm looking at this fair value gap. That is the 2 past 3. It's not a long until we, well, let's see. Hold on. We've got a nice breaker. Yes. Actually, it's a long for me. I'm gonna frame a long here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go long here. It's outside breaker though, but why? It's gonna be very tight. Yeah. Let's see. Might be wrong. Okay, one thing that I missed though, let me just check the 3 minute. We don't have a breaker on the 3 minute. We don't have a breaker on the 5 minute. We didn't hit midnight, but are we gonna go inside this one a little bit? Might be a little bit too early. We also have some macro, but I think it's gonna take its time, but I really think we are not, so I'm sort of hesitant to go really short, right? You can tell. And even though it's going to go lower, I just don't trust it too much how low we could go. Hmm. Yeah, that weekly high is such an important level. It's going to take its sweet old time. It's just not going to do that very soon, I think, to take it because it's such a high. It is such a important level. So are we really? I'm going to get out at some point if it gets into the, because I do think it's going to take. I think we're going to be in some chop from now on. Let me just want to take a little smaller loss. See, we did go over this level here, so we took an inversion. Let me wait for the macro. Okay, I'm gonna wait for the macro. Let's see what it does, because it's 3:14. It's a little bit too early. We could futz around in this area. You know, we have a nice, beautiful wick here. You know, we have a candle going into this wick, so we could consider this a rejection block to the downside, right? So I always look at those things. Look, on a 3 minute, you can see the same, right? You have a rejection block here. We rejected into it. Could go down a little bit lower. You know, we have this area here. On the 5 minute, you see all those gaps here. It's pretty ugly. So I want to point out something here. This is the first presented fair value gap from the midnight. See how the wick, this is how I use those first presented. They give me a lot of information. If you see this, it's on the 5 minute. You can't see it on the 3 or the other. It retested the midnight first presented fair value gap. But then again, on the 5 minute, you don't have a rejection in the rejection block, right? So what I would anticipate at this moment is maybe see a candle go into this rejection block, and then I would like to see it maybe from this area. We have a little gap here. So let's say it rejects from this area. That would be a good long. It still could go lower, and just this is not a rejection block, right? Because we are bearish now for the time being. So this looks like the midpoint. Midnight has been retested here on the 5 minute at 1 o'clock. Then we have the fair value gap here retested here at 5:03. 1, 5. So we're bullish. I mean, we're still on a bullish. The algo is definitely on a bullish uptrend, and anything else is just a retracement. So okay, let's see on the 3, like on the 3 minute, you don't see this. Oh, on the 3 minute as well. Look, we had a retest. Boom. Significant to me. That makes me less bearish to take any bearish trade from this moment on, even though we have midnight below. And on the 1 minute it did not tag that, but on the 5 minute it did, right? So let's see. Sometimes I do miss trades because I have that analysis, but I'm totally fine with it because most of the time it does help me stay out of the bad trades. So I get less losers. And I'm bullish, so I would rather not take bearish trades. Sometimes they are good trades, but then again, look how you know, you have this movement again, you sit through the chop, and it's different when you are in an entry with in chop and when you're just sitting in tape reading. It's just it is, you know, and I had that experience again yesterday. It was like, I think maybe even longer than a year ago, that I was in a 1.5 hour trade, and at some point I just got so irritated, and I really I should not be, but it's just, you know, it's just annoying. It's still a good trade though, but you know, I just don't want to be in it for 1.5 hours. We are day traders. I mean, when, you know, you just want to be maybe 15 minutes max. I mean, that's like that's actually, you know, you want the 50 to 100 points within. Well, let's make it half an hour. You're fine with that, right? But not 1.5 hours. It's just too long. So if I would enter here, I would sit through here. Well, let's say enter here, then it's like 239. Yeah, then okay, well then you have one good drop here. That's half an hour, but then yeah. And again chop. Yeah. Now let's see. Let's see, guys. Okay, I'm going to go to the 5, and again, I'll tell you why I'm hesitant to go into a short right now. It looks like a good short, but I'm not going to enter. We had a retest of the midnight fair value gap, first presented, and I'm bullish, so I would rather wait for a nice long. I already had a few scalps today. This could be a rejection block to the upside. So are we going to reject from the midpoint, which is also a little gap here? That's what I'm looking at right now. If we blast through it, it's going to go further down, obviously. This is the first presented fair value gap from London session. Midnight is here. Midnight open price. This is the midnight first presented fair value gap, and this is the midnight open price. I use both. Yes. So, and obviously the first presented fair value gap, they differ if I switch to the time frame, right? So if I go to a 3 minute, you'll see that the orange block, it just takes a 3 minute orange block. But then again, in the 3 minute, we also retested this first presented fair value gap. Now it could blast through it and just disrespect it, obviously, but I do watch it until it does, and then I reassess. But anyway, we'll see. So this blue line is the weekly high. That was my the line I was looking at. But that is such a significant level. It's going to take it out at a much later time today, I would think. Okay, now let's see. Let's see if we can get a nice bullish move. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave it at some point and come back later. PM session. I think we are going to have a nice PM session. I really hope. You see how it's not really going further down, right? It's sort of rejecting there. So I'm happy that I'm not in the trade because it's just like, okay, this was actually just a good move, but look how it's just 17. It's just, yeah, it's 15 points, but is it worth it to sit through the time? I would rather tape read and see if we can get a. Let's see what 330 does. Let's see what we're going to have at 330. We can get a nice move. Maybe you see how it's just creating equal lows here in this rejection block. So preferably, I would like to see this inversion being invalidated. But then again, the weekly high, which is here, the 805, is such an important. It's going to be. Oh, there we go. Already, are we already going to disrespect it? I'm still bullish, guys. That's why I don't want to take the short. I just want the proper. I want the good move to the upside. But then again, I also realized the 804 is at weekly high, which is such a significant level. It's going to take its time to get there. It's going to tease us. It's going to be very annoying. And like you can see here, it went up into this event horizon. It went a little bit above it. And then I really thought, okay, you know what? It's going to go there now because we're above the event horizon. But then on the 4 hour, we had this rejection block, right? Let me go back and show you guys because it's such an important, again, I learn also being online and mentioning it, even though sometimes you say it, you still don't. I had this marked and look where it rejected right over here. It went a little bit above, and that happens on NFP weeks. It's not exact. Normally you would see it doesn't even go above the 0.5. It did go above the 0.5 and reject here, but is it going to be a big rejection like all the way down here? I don't know. Maybe it's going to leave that for the TGIF, right? Why should it go very low now if we're going to get TGIF? So you have to think about all those things because this is the weekly profile. Tuesday low, Thursday high. We're going to get a Friday high. We don't have we're above Thursday high already, obviously. But where are we going to reject from? Are we going to reject from this level that I'm looking at? Because if that's the case, it's going to really take its time. Are we going to reject from this level? Are we going to take more liquidity? Are we going to reject from this level? Or are we going to go to all-time highs or maybe reject from here? We don't know. But keep in mind, if it doesn't take Asia low, you want that to be in your TGIF zone. It gives you so much information. Asia here, no, this is Asia. I think this is Asia's low. How far are we going to go lower? Obviously it's Thursday, yes. Here we go. You see Asia's low, we've got equals, right? All the way up here and a fair value gap as well. I'm on the 5-minute here. Look, equal and a fair value gap. Now, I don't want that to be taken now because of the TGIF that's coming. Or, well, we don't know if it's coming. But if we're going to take all these lows already now, it's sort of like, I'm like, okay, then what are we going to expect for the TGIF? So I prefer just to hang out here, maybe consolidate, but leave these. And then if I calculate my weekly range for the TGIF, I want this to be in the 20 to 40%. You can already calculate the weekly range. You just, you take the weekly candle, you go to the weekly, you take the bottom, you look at, okay, what can happen today? And you just play around with it and see where your 20, 30, 40%. Like already see where your top will be if this is in your 20 to 40% range. So, yeah. So that's how you can already look at it and use this intel. What you can, it's never wasted time if you sit through London and have maybe one or two small trades, small scalp. But you get all this information and then you'll be prepared for today. And you just have to make sure that you can where the turn, where the retracement will be, or the reversal actually for the TGIF. So for me, I like this, that it just hangs around here and it doesn't take out the Asia lows, because I prefer not to. But it could also take the Asia lows and then go back up and then maybe go to all-time highs and just blast all the way through and not give us a TGIF and just go up, 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 up. Possible as well. And then you get the TGIF in Asia, right? Because if it doesn't, ICT has told us that little gem. If it doesn't give you TGIF on Friday, it does it when the market opens the next Sunday. Write that down. It really does. It just goes down into that level. So now let's see at 3:30 if we get the move up or we're going to go further down. Now, because of this wick, I'm a little bit hesitant to think that we are going to go further down. But then again, we've got the fair value gap here. Yeah, I just don't hope it's going to take this level out now. Patience, and be okay just collecting intel. I think we're going to get we're going to get nice opportunities today. It really looks very positive to me. It really looks nice. Okay, 3:29, 5 more seconds, and it's 3:30. I'm going to go to my 1 minute chart here, just to make sure that I get enough information. Wait, one more time, I want to check something. Do we have a breaker on the 5? No. Do we have a proper breaker? Not really. Okay. Now let's analyze the 4-hour chart, the 4-hour candle. the 4-hour candles from 2 to 6. You could have a down close candle that gets into this gap here, is a possibility. But then it would take out Asia's lows, which I actually do not want to see. But it's a possibility. So we made the wick, we had a move up, and we just have a down close candle, which will be a bullish order block, right? It could also, this might be the wick, which will be the wick on the downside. So if it will go up, then we're just going to move up at some point and go further up. But we already have 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, see, it's creating all these equal lows here. Let's see the 1 hour here. Okay. So the 1 hour has not, there's no body below this 1 hour candle. You see the 2 hour, the 2 o'clock? This is important. This is a level that I would mark because that will mean a change in the sales delivery on the 1 hour chart to the downside. If that will be broken, then I would anticipate more bearish price action for the time being, and then we might go to the lower levels. So this is the area that I'm looking for, because then you have your change in sales delivery to the downside on the hourly candle. So you keep this in mind. So that's, you can see that's below the rejection block, right? So if this level here, so if the midpoint of this area is taken, then you take the whole block, and then we become more bearish for the session. I'm not interested in that, and I would just leave it run. You can anticipate then that there's a gap here, right? Are we going to take that now? Could be. But you see on the hourly, there's no body close. And that will be my change in the sales delivery, but I don't consider this one. They need to be both closed. So let's calculate this little wiki. So you can see I use those wicks as a rejection block a lot to, here we go. So 746 is a midpoint of this block. If it goes below there, yeah, as we saw already, it can go a little bit lower. We have a gap here. Let's see, because we have a wick here already. Now this one is in the gap. Yeah, okay, let's 746. Trendline liquidity created here. Just be careful with any trade right now, because it could do anything. It could spike up, it could go down. It already knows what it's going to do. I mean, there's news today, but the algo already, it's already set in stone. The only thing I believe what happens, because you can really calculate those moves. It's just like with certain news, it's either create time distortion, or it just takes more time to get to a certain level. But they already know where they're going to end the day, end the week. The news is just used for to take us out of trades and to manipulate us, I guess. But anyway, so that I think that like times like this is just time to distort, take longer to go to a move, take people out of positions because everybody knows the weekly high is such important, and they know they just stop. They're so nasty actually. They just stop right before it. It's 20 points. So let's see what's going to be. Okay, so now we made another wick. I still always enjoy tape reading, to be honest, because it just gives you so much information, right? You just see things. If you go over it, just helps you to be more, it really helps me actually to do those live streams. Now that looks like a bearish wick, right? I hope someone, no, I don't hope someone is in a trade actually, but I do hope that people had maybe a good trade earlier today or are just, enjoying the intel and just waiting for later today, preparing themselves and not losing any EVOs or funded accounts on this bloody price action. You don't want to be stuck in this. You do not want to be stuck in this. And I'm sure there will be good moves today. I'm very hopeful, really I am. So here we go. I like that. Every time I say, okay, I'm going to do one more macro, and eventually I sit here for sometimes 3 hours. But we're going to wait one more. Let's see the 350-410. And then I am going to touch some grass. And anyone else that is in an area in the same time zone as I am, I hope you're able to do that too. It's a beautiful day here today, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I get back to the charts. I'm thinking actually maybe to go more online. Now I'm only doing London and PM session. I'm just thinking, why don't I just go online when I'm just behind the charts, right? Because I'm behind the charts anyway. And why does it have to be a specific time? I know maybe it's easier for consistency and people that, follow you. And I'm thinking maybe just, just do it like when I trade, I'm just going to go online. It's going to show what I'm doing, it's just full transparency. Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing that. So it will be maybe a lot of hours, but then again, I do talk more then, that's the only thing. Maybe I should do it when I don't cough anymore. My voice is better, but there we go. But yeah. Are we getting back into a long? You guys know my Let's see, 41-ish. Let's see. Where's my phone? Get my phone. Okay, I'm gonna check the weather for my walk later on. I'm gonna do a really nice long walk today, guys. Wish me luck. Let me see what the today it's 25. We had a lot of wind. Oh my god, it's gonna get a lot of wind again today. That's really not nice on the beach, to be honest. 25. It's gonna be cloudy, 25 to 27 degrees, but that sucks. Tomorrow's rainy. Okay. Oh, look at my trade is coming. Just want to make sure that I don't miss my. I don't want to miss my trade. I'm gonna be back. Hold on. I need to do something. I'm just gonna be back in 1 second. Just gonna get. I need some. Here we go. I'm back again. Sorry, guys. Let's go. Okay, so it's still really consolidating in that area, right? You can see that clearly. Rejection block on the downside and a fair value gap, significant one on the upside. So question is, what is it going to do? I do not want it to go further down because I want those levels to be safe for the TGIF. If it does, it does. Then we just have to accept and see what it does later on. Now, it did go into this wick 45, into this fair value gap. But you don't want to. I hope no one is stuck in this bloody price action because it's horrible and you're just gonna lose trades. You're just gonna lose. It's just gonna. Yeah, nothing to be won in this price action. So let's see, we did have a rejection into into it. So that could indicate a little bit more a downside move. Well, this is clearly distortion. This is just clearly taking its time. Now, for me, this will be very significant how it's going to reject around the midpoint. We're almost at the start of a macro. So now sometimes what we do see, like on the 5 minute, we already tested this inversion or this first presented, right? But on the 1 minute, not. So what it can do, it could go on the 1 minute, tap it, and then you'll see on the 5 minute that it goes like a little bit deeper into it. And for example, on the 5 minute, you see we already tested the first presented fair value gap, but on the 1 minute, it did not touch it. So sometimes what does happen is that it just touches it, but then again, it's highly unlikely that it would just, well, it could create another low here, but it's quite a big wick here. I'd rather see this as a rejection block, or it just blasts through it, right? So it just, let me change this in quarter 1/3. That will give you some more insights how I use them actually, but I try not to have too much things on my chart, because that was feedback that people gave me. There's too much things on your chart, and they were right. Let me just do it like so. Let's see. You are here. How far does this go? So I've calculated this whole week as a rejection block. I wanted to see how it reacts at the midpoint. On the 5 minute, we retested this in first presented fair value gap of the midnight session. And on the 1 minute, we did not. So that would only mean that on the 5 minute, it's actually here. I have to be more exact. Okay. Now, this is the exact move here. You see how it's rejecting? I can't, just have to go to the 1 minute because I want to make sure that I have the wick correctly. Yeah, here we go. This is exactly it. So I'm looking at the, if this is functioning as a rejection block. That's what I'm looking at right now. Just want to make sure that I corrected it. See, on the 1 minute, it's a little bit different, obviously. So here on the 1 minute, we're here, but I'm just using the 5 minute just to have a little bit more. When we have price action like this, I go a little bit higher on the higher time frame. It just gives you more data. Okay. Now, what you can do as well with wicks like this, and you have other wicks that have come, you take the lower bodies And sometimes you just take the last, you look at the wicks here, I go lower and I see we hit the 75% instead of the 0.5, right? So technically on the 5, we almost hit the 0.5. It's just one tick. See, it did not touch it completely, but it doesn't have to. It's already, you want it to reject above the 0.5. That's how ideally, but it could be, you know, on the 4 hour, we went above the 0.5. So that's why I thought we were going to go to the 804, to the weekly high, and actually it did not. So yeah, I'm just going to take this off again. We have enough information already that this is around the 0.5, but it could still go lower. Okay, we're in a macro now. Let's have a look. And then after this macro, I'm going to touch some grass. Just going to enjoy my beach walk. And then come back later today. I'm actually thinking of not sticking to a specific time, but just going online whenever I am going behind the charts. So that could be like London, AM, PM session, not specifically, you know, just, because it's just like, you know, if you analyze charts, you know, without being in trades, because sometimes that's actually what we need to do the most, analyze more than, you know, we hunt for those A+ setups. So, yeah, it's analysis, having fun as well, and just, you know, I have to make sure that I have some music on then again. It will be longer streams because it's more analysis and obviously trades where there are good trades. But sometimes the trades, they come up in the weirdest time. I love PM session because I have a lot of good trades. I do really well in PM session. But I think that's also because my time zone is, you know, I live in South Africa, so it's morning now here. So I can literally trade, if I have the time, I can be around, you know, from London session to end PM session. And I think that's why my PM sessions do well, because I have so much time to do pre-market analysis. And if I do have a loss, it just gives me a lot of information, right? So I'm just thinking, like, why would I need to talk a little bit more, I guess, then. But I'm thinking also, like, you know, getting other traders on, you know, with voice. You know, she just join and share analysis and do things like that. So make it more interactive. So I'm just thinking about that, like, you know, because it's actually the analysis that's actually the most valuable. I think maybe for most people might find it boring, but I really want to be educational and be more like really go in depth about some specifics that you know, when I find out new things. Are we going up? You know, it's interesting to watch now because I don't know if you've been here, but I've been I didn't like this bearish move, like really like, okay, I'm going to get in and, you know, it's going to be a good bearish move. I've been very hesitant with this one. I'm still very bullish, but then again, I also am realistic that if it's a weekly high, it's going to take its time to take it. So we have to be very vigilant now, but we're in a macro. Then again, the macro, you can split it up in two parts. We can have two different moves, right? We can have an up move in the first part of the macro, and we can have a down move in the second part. So again, I'm also, even though I'm bullish, I'm still hesitant because I'm looking at the 1 hour here. And on the 4 hour, I'm like, okay, are we going to have a down close candle on the 4 hour? But it's highly unlikely that we're going to get to a down close candle on the 4 and then well, it could, but now this fair value gap is a very important one. We wanted to go through it for a move upward, but then again, we could also just go into it halfway and go out of it again. But I'm still bullish. I'm still very bullish. Okay, let's wait until the end of this macro, and then I am going to touch some grass. I hope you guys are going to touch some grass if you're able to as well, and get back in AM PM session if you're in the same time zone as I am. Or maybe, I mean, maybe in the evening you can do something else. You can go nice for dinner or something, or go to the gym, whatever. And that's the fun part of London, right? When you can have a little break and do something that you really, which recharges you or relaxes or whatever. And then we come back for the last session. We have an advantage over US people, I think, with that. If we have the possibility to trade London or be behind the charts. Consider ourselves lucky. Okay, let me get into the 1 minute, because if we can get a trade, we are going to get a trade, obviously. Hold on. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. Ooh, nice. Okay, we're in a macro. Look at this. If you look at the one, this is beautiful trendline liquidity, right? Yeah, we invert this. I'm getting into a long, very tight stop. So I'm using this inversion as my TP, or as my stop loss, I mean. Yeah. Seven. This is going to be my. And this is it. I'm just using this inversion here, or this fair value gap, as I don't want this to be invalidated for this trade. If it invalidates it, it's too early. It's not going to go up. That's what I like to see. But you need to go up further, not hesitate. I don't think it's going to go up to that weekly high. If it would go up, I might be wrong on this trade as well, but if it will go up, I don't think it still will go to that weekly high in this macro. It's such a significant level, right? You. I actually don't want to be in a trade, but we'll just go up for this one macro. We'll see what you're going to do. Yes. Okay, we print the 4 hour. My 4 hour is very important to me, guys. I use the 4 and the 10 o'clock in conjunction with each other. So, now the 4 hour has been printed in a fair value gap. That's interesting. Okay, invalidated. Good. Okay, done. Okay, so the 5 minute is an important level now, just below this one. We don't want to see this taken out. It's using this one as a rejection now. That's good. But then again, watch this if it's going to go further down to the downside from here. If it's not going to do that, it's just going to be more consolidation. Because the midpoint is just below this point here. So that's 748-ish. There is a gap at 745-ish, so I could tap into that and then still not go further down than that. You see, it's just not going down, right? It's just not going further down than that level at this moment. So this is the midpoint. So it's using this first presented from London, and it's just sandwiched between the rejection block and the fair value gap. And yeah, most likely on the higher time frame, it's probably an inversion as well. Let's have a look, by the way. I didn't even check that. 1 hour now, wiki. Just took a small L. I took a stab. I thought I'm very bullish. TGIF coming, but then again, I don't think we're going to get a really large move to the downside. I don't hope so. Why? Because I want that low of Asia to be in the TGIF zone later on. That will be the best scenario for me to frame the proper trade later today. But then again, if it does, I need to reassess. But I'll do that afterwards, after my walk into. Let me see, can we frame a nice inversion here? Oh, I like this little point here. Let me just see. Let me just have this little point here set up. You see this little area here? We're not going below that. It's a very tiny area in the 4 hour, but it's significant. We're not going below that. You see that? That's an inversion. We wicked it, we retested it here. 404. You see how why it's significant here. You can see it retested on the bottom. We went down. Now we are retesting it at the top. We do have a little gap inside, but if you look on this area, you see the wick goes into this gap here. So this is a very significant inversion. So also this macro is not doing a lot. Do we really mind? No, we don't, because that means we're going to get a nicer movement later. Am I too early? I'm still bullish. 406. Yeah, I'm not gonna take it again because I took an L already on this trade, but I think it's clear that I'm still very bullish, right? I just don't wanna. We're almost at the end of the macro. I really don't mind to see this price action because it really gives me more information that we might get a really, really good move in the pre-market, maybe even, or in the AM session. We've got so much. I would love to see either a move to the upside, then a nice flush down, and then another move to the upside, breaking that high, and then hopefully in the PM session we're going to get a nice TGIF. That's what I hope. But I like that to see this time distortion now. That means it's going to hold up. It's going to wait for certain moves. It's not in a rush because it knows what it's going to do. It's going to wait until the news comes, right? We've got 8:30 news candle. I'm going to be behind the charts at 8:30. I might come back online maybe. I'll do maybe, yeah, like I said, I might want to be online when I might just do a stream when I'm just go online instead of just specific times. And even though it might not be trading, it's just going over analysis. I don't. Most people like to see trades. I know that. Just they look. I can see that when I'm in a trade, I get more views, and people just. The moment you're out, you see a lot of people leaving again. But then again, I'm sure there are people as well that like to go over analysis and things like that. So I'm just trying to figure out. But also, I actually don't really mind. I'm just doing it, because I just like to do it, regardless of people watching or not. I don't really mind. So yeah, I'm thinking of maybe getting online at 8:30 as well. We'll see. But PM session for sure. For now, I'm gonna touch some grass. Oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to see it go up. Because I want to be in that trade if it goes up. But I have to let go. I'm just gonna go. Yeah, enjoy the day and recharge and be back at the charts for the news candle. And yeah, I want to thank you for popping by and just yeah, hanging out, I guess. And I hope no one has been stuck in this bloody range and not losing any, energy over this move. It's going to be good today, really. I think we're really going to get a nice Friday. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to leave it at this point. It's 4:10 Eastern. We've set through enough chop. Look at that. We've just set through everything. I'm happy that I got back on 2. So again, the 2 a.m. move was the best move. That's why I'm starting earlier now to catch this move. I didn't catch all of it. I just took a scalp, right? But look, again, this was the move, and then we were stuck in chop. So I'm going to do my London session earlier just to be prepared. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. That's what I like to trade, AMD. Anyway, enough about that. Hope to see you soon in London again, and maybe later today at the PM session. Oh, look at that. I just want to be. Oh boy. Yeah, this might be a good trade, but I'm going to leave it at here. It's been enough for the London session, and if it's a good trade, we know for next time. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy. I wish you a very good day and see you later. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye.